Okay, I'm shooting this right off the cuff. I don't care how bad I sound because I'm still sick, but this needs to be said. I just got done watching AEW Dark Elevation with like very little expectations, and I was somewhat entertained by the show. It wasn't that great, but it wasn't this. It wasn't really horrible. Paul White does sound okay on commentary. It doesn't sound amazing, but then again, I've been spoiled by Heenan in the '80s and King Trey Lawler in the '90s, and to some extent, Jim Ross in the '90s and the 2000s, and other stuff like that. And also Moro Ronaldo in NXT in 2016, 17, and 18, I think. So it's like whatever. But this is not about AEW Dark Elevation. This is about Raw, and so I'm actually filming this with Raw in the background right now. I just muted the TV because I need to talk about this show and how much and how it's become. And in order to really get what this video is about, you gotta watch a show called, and I'll link it in the description. Uh, a YouTuber named Super Eyepatch Wolf did a pretty lengthy documentary about The Simpsons and how The Simpsons, for its first 15 some odd years or 10, yeah, for its first 10 or so years, was amazing. It was groundbreaking. It was like nothing anyone's ever seen before, and now it just and it slowly became a shell of itself. Raw's been that way for a very long time. I would argue probably since 2012 or so, 2012, 2013. And it's not getting better. In fact, it's getting way worse. Like, it really sucks. Like, I'm just seeing a match now. McIntyre versus Lashley. Didn't we just see that at WrestleMania 37? So, what the hell? And we're seeing this sameness over and over and over and over and over again. Even Raw at its canonical worst, according to most fans, in the mid '90s, you didn't have the same shit every show. You kind of did, but the presentation was different. It was diverse because WWE needed to change things up a little bit more to survive because it's still at competition. Now, for anyone who says that AEW is legitimate competition for WWE, yeah, no. No. Uh, I want it to be, but just no, it isn't. Sorry. It's not big enough. Are you joking? That's like 15 years ago when people were saying, "Oh, TNA wrestling is the competition in WWE." 15 years ago, you could be like, "Oh yeah, have you watch WWE?" to anyone on the street, and they go like, "Nah, I'm not really into it." They go like, I'll be like, "Oh, what about TNA wrestling?" And they go like, "Oh, there's another wrestling organization that airs on TV." You could have the exact same conversation today with AEW and WWE. Now that doesn't mean that AEW doesn't have pretty much the only two reasons I watch any wrestling attentively. Those reasons being MJF and Thunder Rosa, and to some extent Britt Baker. But still, sorry, still getting over this. Raw has been the same show for 4 or 5 years. It really has. It really has. Same kind of format. 2 hours, 3 hours, 1 hour. It makes no goddamn difference. It really doesn't. People go, "Oh man, we have just make 2 hours." Well, yeah, then you get SmackDown, which is it's just as samey. It's just as identical. It's like I watched SmackDown on Friday. It was like the Twilight Zone, man. Anyways, point of the video is that this is something I want from WWE because it would make things. I'd be way less overwhelmed with it. The reason why WWE is so shitty is because it's on way too much. Where we have Raw on Monday, we have NXT on Tuesday, you got SmackDown on Friday, and then you have all the other stuff on the network on Peacock, which I'm not gonna get because it's way too disorganized, and it doesn't have it like doesn't contain like stuff that I grew up with, because God forbid you watch stuff in the mid '90s that was like that was not as safe as things are now. That kind of nonsense, that kind of stupidity. Anyways, I want Raw to have its final telecast in 2 years. In January 2023, 30 years after its first episode, Raw should stop airing. It really should. And they should either replace it with NXT or not have a show on Monday and just have NXT and SmackDown. Why is that? Because let's put it this way. Before Raw, what you have from WWE? It did have a weekly show. People don't know that. That was Saturday Night's Main Event. Saturday Night's Main Event was a very regular show that appeared on network TV for WWE before the cable thing in the late 80s and early 90s that WWE was actually late to the party on, because WCW had a Saturday night on the had Saturday night on TBS. So whatever. So WWE we don't need to see 3 shows a week. No, we don't need that, okay? Didn't need it 15 years ago when we had Raw, WWE ECW, and SmackDown, okay? Like, things weren't much better then. I'm not lying to you. 15 years ago when that happened, WWE was just as repetitive. Okay, it wasn't, and I'm gonna do a whole video on this. It wasn't, shilling to all of its sponsors and stuff, especially the charities and the Saudi stuff, but still had similar performers doing similar shit, similar segments. Maybe there was a little bit of things that were different, but it's been the same shit for a very long time. And a lot of fans say the same thing. But I just want to put that out there, that we don't need to watch Raw anymore. I keep it on just to have shit on in the background while I work, or while I play stuff, or if I want to send and read some emails, that kind of stuff. It makes for great background noise. Raw is really good background noise. So is SmackDown, and so is NXT. NXT I'll watch a little bit. I do somewhat like some of the characters on there. SmackDown is just insufferable. It's god awful. Roman Reigns, I guess, is okay. Everyone else sucks. Like, you could ask me, like, what's the women's champion on SmackDown? Oh, it's Bianca Belair. And she's decent, I suppose. But she's just predictable as everyone else. You know what I mean? And the reason why WWE can get away with being so predictable is because, and I'll mention it again, I'm going to talk about it at length in a different video, is because all the charities. The charities give WWE way more money. This will just be a Cliff Notes version. The charities, especially now, because you don't have live audiences to sell tickets to. So WWE doesn't have ticket sales. They had WrestleMania 37. Yeah, that was one event in one calendar year. So if WWE can still exist and do okay, apparently, with virtually less than 1%. Well, let's see, 52 TV shows every year, and 14 pay-per-views, I guess, every year, something like that. Not including NXT. Including NXT. So 52 for SmackDown, 52 for Raw, 52 for NXT, and 14 pay-per-views for each. Divide all that by 1, which was WrestleMania 37 that had a live audience. Do you really think WWE needs a live audience anymore? No, they don't. good reason why there is. And the Cliff Notes version is because charities give WWE and all the other sponsors give WWE way more money than us fans ever will. Okay? The game for WWE has changed to the point where WWE literally does not need fans. They don't need fans. That's the Cliff Notes version of the next video I'm going to be doing on WWE. Why you should not expect WWE to have fans in buildings anytime soon. Or, and this is going to be their preference, they're going to put fans in buildings just for their major pay-per-views. WrestleMania, or starting with the calendar year. Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Money in the Bank, possibly, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, and maybe a couple of NXT takeovers. Okay, NXT has like 100 fans in the building. You know what I mean? They let most of the developmental guys watch, and they let a few fans who attend Full Sail go to the show, I think, something like that. So, yeah. Anyways, back on the topic, WWE should have its final airing of Raw in 2 years. They should. Because, just like in the Super Eyepatch Wolf video that I linked in the description, we're seeing Zombie Raw. We are. We're seeing Raw being a shell of what it used to be. Go back and watch any given Monday Night Raw, even from 15 years ago when all this kind of, when the ball for this started rolling, okay? And people and fans tend to forget that even 15 years ago we had 3 shows every week. We had Raw, WWE ECW, which was, NXT before or pre-NXT, and SmackDown. So you still had a crowded programming, crowded rosters, all doing the same shit all the time. Even 15 years ago. However, didn't have as many sponsors and stuff like that. And you go back and you watch those shows, and you'll see it just go steadily. It'll be more and more same, more and more similar than the last show, more and more repetitive. This isn't me like growing out of professional wrestling. Okay, look, I'm gonna be 39 in 6 or so weeks. If I had grown out, I would have already grown out. I would have already grown out of wrestling like a decade ago. Okay, you don't get this old and keep watching wrestling, and without it not growing out on you. Okay, like no, I would have grown out a long time ago. So that's not it. So yeah, that's why WWE should just pull the plug on Raw. Just pull the plug on it, man. Don't need it anymore. NXT and SmackDown. And SmackDown could be the new flagship program. Oh yeah, by the way, SmackDown's has already existed for 20 fucking years. So maybe you need to ditch that show too. Maybe you need to make a brand new show. You know what I mean? Or just have one show. Oh my god, just have WWE NXT. And just have the entire roster do whatever they need to do on one show. Or you could have like NXT Night 1 and then NXT Night 2 and have them on like Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't know. That's what it is, man. So yeah. Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this. Hope I'll sound better when I get better. God damn it. I've been sick for like a week, man. It's ridiculous. And it's not COVID either. It's just some stupid cold. Hate it. It's like annoying. It made me wish I had COVID. When I had COVID, I couldn't smell anything for like 3 days. Then it was fine. Here it's like, yeah, you're going to sound like shit and your nose is going to be all, pardon the pun, raw. But I'll probably sound better in a couple days. Anyways, thank you for listening. Yeah, be on the lookout for that video about why WWE doesn't need fans. That's what it's going to be called. It's literally going to be called Why WWE Does Not Need Fans Anymore. And why they prefer not to have fans. It's going to be a big presentation style video. Y'all are going to like it. You guys are going to love it. Alright. Take care, everybody.